Hello, welcome to the VPL NU League. I am Sebasculin, and I will be showing you weeks 1 and 2 of the Luton Chatters. So first of all, thanks to Skyranda for having me on. And the teams I'll be facing are the Myrtle Beach Milotics and the RIyadh Rhydons. So, in my draft, I have Z Virizion, Steelix, Slowking, Braviary, Quillfish, Tragodon, Z Alolan Persian, Healisk, Z Golok, and Terminator. So going into this match, I could see he had a few speed tiers I wanted to exploit. So you will see how that ends up working out. The team he brought was Toxicroak, Sceptile, Rotom Fan, Savali, Duosion, and Flareon. Now I could see that was going to be a setup Duosion, and I had Roar on my Steelix and Dragon Tail on my Turtonator to deal with this. And the Rotom Fan, since this is best switching to Virizion, could be defensive. So we'll see whether that's the case. So my defensive core was Steelix, a Rocky Helmet Turtonator, and a Slowking with Assault Vest in order to try and take hits from Rotom Fan and especially Duosion. The Quillfish is Scarfed and has enough attack to OHKO as Sceptile. And the Virizion is Rocky MC with Stab at +2 SD. It can run through the team. I have other ways of dealing with Toxicroak, including a Specs Healisk with Hyper Voice, Dark Pulse, and Electric Stabs. So, going into the match, you can see he is in fact a Scarce Valley. So I'm just going to go for the Volt Switch and use no switch-ins and gain some momentum. I'm going to slow it down a bit. He clicks Air Slash against this Turtonator. Now, breaking the fourth wall, we actually had some level issues before this match started. So I was thinking that this thing could take hits better than it could. And no, it didn't do much. And now the Duosion comes in, looking to set up on my rather weak Turtonator. I'm going to go for the Volt Switch, try and switch into Slowking. Now, I shouldn't have done that. I should have really gone into something else and just hit it hard. Or, I could have just simply packed Dragon Tail on the Slowking. I mean, it was meant to deal with this, and so I didn't bring it. So he's going to set up rather freely. Now, I put enough special attack investment to do some Shadow Ball damage onto a physically defensive one, expecting it to be switched into Virizion, but alas, it's special defensive, so I go into Healisk, trying to KO with Dark Pulse, and we are entering a little bit of a stall war here, as he gets a little greedy, trying to set up. So this goes on for a while, me spamming Dark Pulse, him spamming Recover and Calm Mind. So let's just fast forward a little, and I'm just waiting for the crit. The crit or flinch, either will do. Just so I can break this Duosion. Worst case scenario, he sets up, I go into Steelix, and Dragon Tail him out, so I have the Sturdy. So we're going to keep doing this, and eventually, I get the crit, the flinch. And this is what I needed. He can't set up anymore, he can't cover anymore. Duosion is gone. So I'm locked into Dark Pulse, and he's got his choice Castle Valley, so he's just going to Parting Shot on my Turtonator sack. And in comes Toxicroak. Now this is interesting because I brought Hockey Helmet to try and take a few hits. I Dragon Tail out, so it doesn't set up Swords Dance. And here we are back into the Rotom, it's just going to KO me. Turtonator down. So, I go into the Virizion, and I've got enough special defense investment to survive the Air Slash actually. And I didn't know if he expected a Code Berry, But whilst I switch out to Quillfish, try and gain some momentum, but alas, he did not switch out, which, you know, he could have risked losing his Rotom to a Zine Stone Edge, but there you go. This is a Choice Scarf Quillfish, and I click Destiny Bond as he clicks the T-Bolt, so that Rotom fan is gone, finally. And his checks are whittled down. He hasn't got much left for Ezion. So same turn again. I go for the Volt Switch, I believe, as he goes for the Party Shot. Yes, I do. And I get a crit. Now, I don't feel like the crit mattered, particularly because I had other answers for it. And if his health wasn't that low, I would have probably tried to set up. And then Oko with the Rocky Z. I mean, we don't know. So I just go for the Rocky Z and the safe Sacred Sword. I wasn't packing close combat because of these specific investments I had. I didn't want to lose my defenses. So he goes into Toxicroak. Now, I think he predicted I have actually my SD set because he brings out the Z Snatch. So had I tried to set up his phase, which would have been a mistake, he would have been +2 speed, +2 attack. I think I would have lost. Like, especially if Felix missed. Yeah. So I just switch into Slowking. I have the Psychic. I take it down after delivering the Gunk Shot. And out comes the Sceptile. I had no use for Slowking anymore, so I just sack it off as it goes with the Giga Drain. And here's my opportunity. I resist the stab. I'm just going to click SD. And this is game. So he goes for the Flamethrower. That special defense investment means that doesn't do much. I Oko with Sacred Sword. He switches into Sceptile. Clicks Focus Blast. Again, I live the hit. And I'm just going to Synthesis up in case I took more damage. In case it's Oko. He does miss the Focus Blast. Turns out I do Oko with Sacred Sword. And that is game 1. So, I'm pretty happy with that result. Could have gone a lot worse had I not had the team build that I did. So well done to Basica. That duration duration could have ended me. Toxicroak could have ended me. But I think I made some decent switches and decent prep to just about handle it. So that was week 1. Going into week 2. So he wasn't at his best, but he wanted to compete anyway. Druddigon, Scyther, Blastoise, Electros, Gallade, Weezing, Kecleon, Cacturne, Kadabra, and Camerupt. Now, because it was his second fastest thing, I was afraid of the Gallade being an SD set. So as you can see, I brought a lot of my faster mons. And actually, I've brought the whole team now, so there we go. Today, in this match, I'm bringing the Helisk. This time it's Choice Scarf, in order to outspeed the Scyther and the Kadabra. Now, the Kadabra, I didn't feel like was going to be Choice Scarf. I felt like he needed that power to try and break through me. And I was willing to take the risk that it was a jolly Scyther, because I don't feel like a Scyther should stay in against a Helisk. Cryogonal was Zolfest with Rapid Spin, in case he tried to set up hazards with his Star Rocks, with Freeze Dry, Ice Beam, Freeze Dry for the Blastoise, Ice Beam, and Ice Shard, in order to try and pick up some cheeky KOs because he has no decent Ice Switch-ins. I also brought RIyadh with a Choice Band, so this thing hits super hard. I believe I packed Rock Slide, Zen Headbutt, Return, and Brave Bird. I was expecting the Weezing, so I had a couple of things for it. including that, but didn't come. So there you go. Quillfish is a max defense, max HP, and obviously now 1C Intimidate's on. The Goluk is a cold berry, again trying to check the Glade, so I could Oko back with a Shadow Punch, I believe, back in that. And a Lowland Persian is packing the Dark Indian Z, Foul Play, Parting Shot, Knockoff, and Taunt in order to try and stop the Rockers. So, again, a lack of teams have decent switches to Helisk, so let's start the match. And I lead Cravenol, expecting him to try and counter my Helisk lead. He did not, so I just switched into my Quillfish, expecting the U-turn, and it was in fact Rocky Helmet. I changed out Papaya Berry afterwards, actually. And the Dazzling Gleam is kind of obvious. I think I predicted him to predict the Alone Persian, so I switched to my Assault Vest Cragonal and fire an Ice Beam, and that is an Assault Vest Electros, so I do not have a good answer for this, particularly. Goluk can do some damage, and I catch him on the Drodagon switch, predicting a physical attack. So I've got the upper hand with my Cragonal. I'm just going to click Ice Beam, I don't care what comes in. Another Assault Vest user. So I do have the Freeze Dry, I do a decent amount of chip damage, and I take the Aura Sphere despite the crit. He goes back into Electros, I click Freeze Dry. I'm not doing much, I don't want to lose Cragonal, and I just go into a Lola Persian, eat that knockoff. I'm going to Parting Shot out, weaken the Scyther, so that my Helisk has a free Volt Switch. But I knew he would expect the Volt Switch, so I actually packed U-turn. So I U-turn into Quillfish, and I'm guessing he predicted because I just hit what's in front of me, liquidation, Camo Raptor down. That's not going to be a threat. But Kadabra still can be. I do manage to catch it on the Psychic, and I go for knockoff. Sash is there, that's fine. I can take the Dazzling Gleam, and I click Foul Play. Now, I knew the Drodagon was coming in, but I didn't know how much attack investment I had. So I click the Foul Play, hoping to do a bit of chip, knowing I could live Rough Skin as long as it wasn't Rocky Helmet. Luckily, it wasn't Rocky Helmet. So I click Foul Play, and now I click Z Parting Shot, and this thing has less attack, less special attack, and I heal Cragonal, and this thing's about to go to town because he is lacking switches. Ice Beam does enough so that crit didn't matter. That crit did not matter because in any case I could have lived to here if I low roll, could have retaliated with an Ice Shard. The Scyther comes in, goes for knockoff, I take just enough, go for the Ice Beam, it's down. Kadabra comes in hoping to catch me, but I do have the Ice Shard for that priority. Electros comes in, it lives, it's going to knock me out of Flamethrower, but I'm going to bring in Braviary, use that Choice Band, and just hit something hard. Drodagon comes in, that's not going to be enough recoil, and Braviary is going to clean up the match. 3, 2, 1, and that's game. So, thanks to both MaidenDooD and Basica64 for playing. I enjoyed the match, and they are lovely guys. It's been a pleasure joining this league, and I felt really welcome, so I look forward to the rest of the season. And yeah, thanks for listening.